Everybody, welcome in to our Coach and Company podcast. We do every single weekday when I am home in the friendly confines. We have so much content for each and every one of you. Now, today's a very special day in our world. I wanted to just take a few minutes. And by the way, today the podcast is brought to you by the Four-Letter Word Club, the most exclusive club in all of golf. Their first merch drop is this Friday. And you'll be able to buy their merch like one of these amazing shirts and hats this Friday through the show. Now, there are certain days in a career or a life, and I think I'm getting to a certain point in mine and to a certain age, smack dab in the middle of middle age, that things just mean a lot more to me. And I know a lot of you out there that consume our content consume it because we have a lot of pro wrestling content and we do a lot of sports content here. But now the worlds have really started to morph together. You're seeing things, and I'm very, very proud of the fact that I was the very first person to go from WWE to ESPN. Now there's been several people that have gone back and forth. A lot of the executives back then in the 2008, 2009 range, they didn't want to mix the choreographed world of pro wrestling and real sports at ESPN. Boy, how far we have come. And I never dreamed about a career in pro wrestling. Never did. My dream was always to be at ESPN. I wanted to do sports my whole life. Never thought I would have both. Never thought I would have just pro wrestling. But when I got the opportunity in the early 2000s, and I spent over a decade my first time in the WWE, it was a ton of fun. But when I got out, I always said I would never go back. I said, I'm burnt out, don't want to do it. Certainly not 52 weeks a year. So that brings us to today. And today is a really big day for me. It's a really big day for Producer Man, who is my right hand every single day. And also Raphael, Big Tommy, Gabby, everybody that's on Coaching Company, because we do this together. And we have a ton of fun doing it. The whole media space has changed. Remote shows are now all the rage, but you got to do them at a certain level. So we knew when we launched BTT a year ago and we launched Coaching Company 5 months ago that we would need to collaborate with different companies. And you hope that you get really big companies to want to collaborate with you. Well, today we take another step forward. Today, the former Fight Nation channel, channel 156 at SiriusXM, rebrands itself to Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7, and it's kind of self-explanatory. They will now have pro wrestling content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is thrilling. They have been working on this for absolute years. Busted Open started 16 years ago in 2009. David LaGreca, whose brother has a big sports show on The Fan or ESPN Radio in New York. So you see all of these families and all of these talents and all of these different things that are now crossing over and doing cross promotion. So today I am thrilled, I am honored that I will be a part of this new lineup. So every single weekday, 2 to 4 Eastern time, I will be doing a show called Off the Ropes. My co-hosts will change every single day. They have so many of former great wrestling minds, the Tommy Dreamers, Natalia, Nick Nemeth, Bully Ray of the Dudley Boys, Mark Henry. The list goes on and on. Why does this mean so much? Well, I want you to think about whatever career it is that you have. Whatever it is. You're an accountant, you're a doctor, you're a taxi driver, it doesn't matter. And you set goals for yourself. Hopefully you do. And even if you're in a job that you hate, you need to set life goals so you have something to look towards. And as we were growing in the last year, in the last 5 months, and as we were separating things out, we were trying to figure out what's the best way moving forward. Because we want this to be, because we never want to rely on a network ever again. I always want to have 3 or 4 things going all at the same time, because it matters now. It's so different. When I was first at ESPN, they wouldn't let me do anything else. When I was first at WWE, you couldn't do anything else. So if you got offered, I was offered to do something, it was a Manny Pacquiao fight. And let's say it was $25,000. And ESPN said no reason. Just said no. Well, now they figured out that if a talent wants to make, let's say, $200,000 a year, Well, they can pay them $150 and let them go do something else and to make up that $50,000 or whatever their number is. So now a lot of these executives, a lot of these companies understand that if we cross promote and we allow our talent to do this, like a Pat McAfee, like a Stephen A. Smith, or now like a coach, that not only can they save a little bit of money, but the talent gets what they want. And then now there's attention all over the place. It's a win, win, win. So today we launched that. And I could not be more excited. And even if you're not a pro wrestling fan, the way that we're going to do our show is going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be former wrestlers, friends of mine. We're going to have celebrities on that are big-time wrestling fans. We're also going to have sports athletes, celebrities that come on that are pro wrestling fans as well. Because during my career, it's funny, I've met so many athletes that I always wanted to meet. And I always thought it would be because of my journey to ESPN or the very little bit of time I spent in local TV in Kansas City, before that in Wichita. But it's actually been the opposite. I've met all of these great athletes and celebrities through pro wrestling. And it's amazing how many people out there are no longer closet fans. When I was there, I can't admit, because I'm an actor on Grey's Anatomy. Or I can't admit I love wrestling because I do this. I'm a minister at a church like my dad was. My dad used to go to cities with me all the time. He loved traveling. He loved being a part of the WWE universe. So now, as my career has kind of morphed and it's changed and it continues to evolve, you'd never know if you would have told me 5 years ago that in 2025 I would be doing a national show on Sirius XM, 3 of my own shows at a brand that I created with really good people around me, and that we would be growing and helping people grow and helping shows grow and doing it the right way or trying to do it the right way, I would have told you were crazy. So I encourage all of you to make a line in the sand day. Today for us and for me, this is a line in the sand. This is, in my mind, a line that I never go backwards on. We're only moving forwards. And we add SiriusXM to Coaching Company, to Coach and Bro, to The Last Word, and everything else that we touch. And that's what life and your professional life is supposed to be all about. It's about growth. It's about learning how not to be selfish. That's probably the biggest thing I've had to understand, that a lot of these good things started happening when I stopped worrying about how much money am I going to make, or how good is this going to be for me instead of for the team, for the people around me, those that are so incredible, learning how to allow others to do their jobs. That's how you become great. Not by doing it yourself, not by becoming that good. I know how good. I've been at a national level for over 20 years. I know how good I am. That sounds arrogant and cocky, but it's the truth. But to become really great, you have to have greatness around you. And that's exactly what I've done. We have so many great people, some that you never see, that are coming here because they understand this is what we want to turn it into. I saw a quote the other day from Pat McAfee. He was talking about how exhausted he is because he has 14 employees. He's building a company. He has his show, big-time deal with ESPN, mega millions. But he didn't start 5 years. He started 10, 15 years ago, and he's still playing football. But what drives him is he has a ton of fun because this is as much fun as you think it is. It truly is. I loved doing radio when I was at ESPN. Loved it. Did a lot of weekend radio, a lot of NFL radio. Loved it. It's a different medium. It's a different platform. It's a ton of fun. But I never thought that I would have a full-time radio show ever after I left ESPN. But you never say never. And you never close a door. I said for many years, never want to do pro wrestling. And then as time has gone along the last couple of years, I realized not only do I really enjoy pro wrestling, I enjoy talking about it, but when you have become an expert in it, and when you spend double-digit years inside of the biggest company in the world, and you're a character and a talent for that company, yes, you are an expert. So I felt like in some small way it was my duty to get back into the game and to deal with the vileness that is wrestling Twitter. But in between a lot of the negativity, there's a lot of people that love the business and they love shows. And that's why I accepted the offer to do Off the Ropes starting today on SiriusXM. So we're going to have a ton of fun. I would love for all of you to tune in. We're going to add content also here on both of our shows. So we're just growing as we get ready for another big football season. Now, we never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes here on the podcast. It is fresh, separate from the morning show. We don't just retool and throw it up there. This is a fresh podcast because I love to connect and I love to get a little bit deeper into topics that you don't have time for on Coaching Company in the morning. So we talked some this morning about NBA teams that are making moves. And we have a one-word segment. That's a ton of fun. They kind of throw different topics into one word. And today we had different topics, and we started with SGA. And the NBA is in this weird 1 week time period where players agree they can still back out. Teams agree they can still back out. And it's all verbal agreements until July 6th. But sometimes you get athletes that are a little bit different. You get athletes that are not your typical money hungry, me. I need to play in the biggest market, get the most endorsements, all of that. And you get a player like SGA from Oklahoma City. One of just a handful of players in NBA history to win a regular season MVP, a finals MVP, and the scoring title all in the same season. That's how great this guy is. And today during the show, we had breaking news from Shams at ESPN that SGA has agreed to a 4-year supermax deal, $285 million, $71 million a year. The highest single season salary in NBA history. And you won't see one person, not one, that says he isn't worth it. Now, you may have some conservatives out there or people like my mom, who was a teacher, that are always like, how come athletes get paid so much money? They're not worth it. They're just playing a game. What about those that work hard like teachers, firemen? Mom, everybody deserves it. Unfortunately, in the entertainment space, it's supply and demand. And there are not a lot of elite basketball players, which means the demand is high for a guy like SGA. I love having those conversations with my mom, who's damn near 80 years old, and she will never get it. She will never get it. But those of us that do and understand how much money the NBA brings in, $71 million, I still never thought in my wildest imaginations that we would get to a point during my lifetime that the percentage that they share with the NBA, you can get a deal up to $71 million a year. So now think about it if Luka right now is looking at this deal, because some of the little details that not a lot of people are talking about, the reason they implemented a super max was to encourage players to stay with one team their entire careers. And if you're with said team for a certain period of time, then you qualify for that super max. It's a certain number of years and dollar amount. Well, Luka was on pace to be a super max player in Dallas. He had just bought a $15 million home, which in Texas is gigantic. So how do you think Luka felt when he found out that because he was being traded away from the Mavs, the team that drafted him, that he would not be eligible for a supermax when he plays with the Lakers? Now, don't feel sorry for Luka. He's going to make plenty of money, but there's something to be said for calling yourself a supermax player. There's several players now that make in the $50 million range, which is still a ridiculous amount of money. But to be a supermax player, to be north of $60, $70 million a year, there's a certain pride factor in that. I'm still trying to figure out why LeBron James took $53 million to stay with the Lakers when he's already a billionaire and he's over 40 years of age. That's a completely different story. And as I get to this age, I literally just told you, I don't look at the money anymore. Do I want to make it? 1,000%. But I want to take care of my family. I want to make sure I'm a good teammate to my ex-wife. I want to make sure that I play the game the right way, and because you can't take any of it with you. I want to leave a legacy of good. And LeBron James had a chance to do that, and he chose not to. And a lot of times these players will be like, well, I don't want to throw off the hierarchy of salaries in whatever league you're in. If I take this, well, Tom Brady didn't care. Tom Brady wanted to win, and he did 7 times. There is a blueprint, and there is no substitute for star power. And LeBron James, for whatever reason, maybe he just wanted it. Maybe he just likes money like a lot of people. Maybe. But if you truly want to win and you are already a billionaire and you're already set up for life already and you can play for $0, why would you do it? Is that 5th championship not worth $50 million to you? Every time you talk about Michael Jordan, what do you say? 6-time NBA champion, twice a three-peat. Kobe Bryant, 5-time NBA champion. That's what people say about players. They don't say LeBron James made $800 million in his career. They don't say that. At the end of the day, it does not matter. When people talk about when you're 60, 70 years old, they do talk about your championships. They do talk about the chips. So congratulations to SGA. Highest single season salary ever at $71 million a year. And if you're a Thunder fan, this is going to be the best time in the history of your franchise. You got the MVP. You got players who want to play with him. You have enough young players that don't cost you a whole lot yet. You still have a 2 or 3 year window to really be dominant. And then, as they've done before in Oklahoma City, players will leave. That's the nature of the beast. We forget that at one point on the same team was Kevin Durant in Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Oh, and by the way, James Harden opted out of his player option because he's going to sign a 2-year, $81 million deal to stay in L.A. James Harden, Mr. Bounce It 40 times and then step back 3. By the way, he led the league in step back threes last year because he's always pound, step back. It's a fascinating time to be in the NBA. And if you're the Thunder, they've got to figure out a way because these windows don't last a long time. But think about the other teams. We talked about it today on Coaching Company. The Mavs, who could have a really good squad, 25-1, if Kyrie can come back at some point in the spring or late January, February. Tyrese Halliburton, Pacers, took it to a Game 7 NBA Finals. They're a really good team. Should have pretty much everybody back intact except for him. And when you tear your Achilles, A, it's difficult to come back from, but B, it's usually a full year. And a full year means he would miss the entire season. And then you have potentially the best of all of them, Jason Tatum, also a torn Achilles, also during the playoffs. So if he can come back at the end of March or April, would the Celtics do that? Would they risk another injury for a player who's probably not going to be in game shape at the end of March for the playoffs? Do you hold him out the entire year? It's becoming a real issue in the NBA. But we will keep our eyes on the rest of the week as the verbal agreement window goes until July 6th. I think it's midnight, something like that. Then you'll see all of these verbal agreements. These players, they want to sign them quick. You're not going to see guys wait till day 2 or day 3 because then somebody else can walk in, get your deal. It's a free-for-all. If you get that deal, you want to sign it at 12:01. There's been stories of owners and GMs showing up on players' doorsteps with the contracts at midnight to make sure that player doesn't decide to go somewhere else. That's how cutthroat this whole situation is. Do not forget, Tomorrow, we will be live on Rant Wednesday. It's Wednesday, which means all my guys get to rant on something. We do have the John Deere Classic later this week. We'll have golf picks for that on the show. Every single day, we'll preview who's going to be on or what we're going to be talking about on Off the Ropes, my 2 to 4 show on Sirius XM, which launches in a matter of 11:30 right now, 2.5 hours. So excited for that. But we want you to tune in here every single day, have a ton of fun. And there is Sunday Night Smoke, the podcast. Salute to you. Because we want to make this a space every day as we increase our content that you guys can come and we can just talk sports for 20 or 30 minutes. We're changing the game. And we want to do this every single day that we possibly can if the throat holds up. And don't forget, we still have PFL coming up in August. I have one more PGA Tour event. This is what we dreamed about. So we want all of you along for the ride, no matter what it is that we are doing. Isn't this fun? You're damn right it is. All right, that's going to do it for now. I got to get ready for my very first show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time for Coach and Company live on the Stadium Network, YouTube, and also social media. I'm the coach, producer man. We'll see you next time. This is the Coach and Company, the podcast.